Grand evening, everyone. It is Saturday, February 14th, 2026. It is 20 hours. I believe it's 2000 hours Central Standard Time on this Lupercalia, mainly Valentine's Day, as it is mainstream, mainly known as by the masses. Though Lupercalia is the origin and the truth of the holiday. We've had quite a few new developments, a lot of further breaking news recently when it comes to WW3, the Iran situation. I was watching and waiting for more things to develop with Iran. I believe later on tonight, in the coming hours, the attacks on Iran could be. That's when it could be happening in the coming hours. As soon as the coming hours, potentially as far as next weekend, though it's much more likely within the next 48 hours. I expect it to be within the next 12 hours. We will see when exactly it all happens, though. We've had lots of EAMs, as you can see there. I even posted it. I wrote it down almost right away that time. That was some days ago. That was a few days ago. It's been very intense. Certain times, certain mornings have been very, very intense with the EAMs and the doomsday planes flying around. As you can see there were near nonstop EAMs a few days ago. Even a Skymaster, one of the highest priority nuclear codes. Potentially, the cartels were sending drones from Mexico, though I think it was shortly later revealed, it might have been Hezbollah with a connection to the cartels sending a drone across the border that was shot down. Then they might have tried to even cover it up and call it a balloon. That's what the mainstream media called it. A balloon went over the border and it got shot down. Then we had the presidential doomsday plane, the E-4B, flew out of Washington, D.C., uh, potentially even to Cheyenne Mountain, or I think it actually went to Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. That's where it's been flying around recently. That's where I think NORAD is Offutt Air Base. It's a very advanced military base, very high priority military base, very important place. Offutt Air Base in Nebraska. Then this guy he's been putting up a lot of very accurate statements in his posts. He mainly does cryptos and stuff like that, though he's got some inside sources. He's got quite a bit of money too, this guy. Um, he expects also the biggest crash in history is coming. The US economy will collapse. He says stocks will collapse. Big exchanges like Binance will collapse. 99.9% of cryptos will disappear. Real estate will collapse. Everything. Yes. So he also believes everything is collapsing. That has become much more of a known thing recently, that it's all collapsing, it's all coming down. The world as we know it now. Not everything, just the world as we know it now. Then we have around that same day and time, or the day before potentially, uh, the Russian doomsday radio was showing anomalous activity. There were about 23 coded messages in a single day, which is an absolute record according to people who usually track that station, all the messages that come from it. The latest transmissions included the words Caucasus and pimply, very strange. So I also said, yep, definitely expect one of the biggest um, things to happen. The Russian doomsday radio, when that goes off, it is extremely concerning. That those are some of the highest priority uh, things that Russia has. The Russian doomsday radio. Then we have this here total confirmation of total war being imminent. A U.S. official told Axios there is a zero chance that Iran agrees to anything that the U.S. proposes or vice versa. So that's right from a U.S. official telling Axios there is a zero chance that Iran agrees to anything the U.S. proposes or the other way around. There will be no negotiations that will be successful as expected. The talks are all failing, they're pointless. You can't negotiate. People can't negotiate with a terrorist regime, terrorists in general. It's just, it does not work. Then we have this here. This is from earlier today. There was a large explosion in the Sharan area of Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. Out in the distance is pretty far out, this recording, though. You could see that there a massive blaze, a whole lot of black smoke out in the distance. So something large got blown up by a very large explosion in Tehran. This could be some of the first attacks on Iran by Israel or the US. Then we have, on another note, Japan has declared they will rearm and reemerge as a regional and world power to rival their archenemy China. The Chinese and the Japanese have not been friends. They've always been enemies for maybe 1,000 years. Very, very long time. Lots of wars have happened over the years between the Japanese and China. When it came to World War II, the Chinese were at war with the Japanese. They were at war, the Japanese and the Chinese, just before World War II. History is almost directly repeating itself in that regard. And then we have NOTAMs for several parts of Iran. Those are notices to airmen, do not fly, like no fly zones. In all of those areas you could see on that map. So all these areas, not sure why they call it that, why they have it listed as gunfire or UAVs. Though there's several NOTAMs for Iran. So they're really expecting they need to have the skies clear in several areas all across Iran. That's further preparation for Iran. Likely for when they launch missiles and things like that. Once again, Iran specializes in missiles and even cyber warfare. A lot of people don't know that. Um, Once again, Iran has been a civilization that has been around for thousands of years, literally about 10 times as long as the US. They are a powerful country. They used to be the Persians. Um, they have very advanced missile technology. It potentially surpasses Russia when it comes to missile technology. Their cyber force is very capable. It rivals China as for cyber warfare. So we could expect a lot more cyber attacks from the Iranians and the Chinese, the combination of the two, especially. I recommend people rewatch the movie Leave the World Behind. I watched it recently, and there's a lot of accuracies in that movie besides the part where there's a couple of inaccuracies in that movie too, but most of it is accurate. The events that happen are quite accurate. Though one of the main things they leave out is after the power grid goes down for that long, is the people, there'll be a lot more people around going around looting. There'll just be total anarchy and chaos everywhere. And they don't show that in that movie as much. And that spot where it even takes place was like maybe 20 miles away from New York City. So there's going to be a whole lot of that going on, even 15, 20 miles away from New York City in an area similar to where I used to live. I mean, there's cities everywhere outside of New York City. There will be total chaos that will end in anarchy within a few days of cyber attacks on that scale happening, and eventually an EMP and a nuclear detonation that may or may not happen in that movie. You should definitely watch that movie. Uh, though there may have been a nuclear detonation in that movie, and it's not it's not very accurate as to what would happen in that scenario, because if a nuclear detonation happens even 20 miles away, uh, someone standing in such an out in the open spot, they're likely going to get at least third-degree burns, almost certainly go blind, being 15, 20 miles away from a nuclear detonation. They're not really small nuclear weapons these days. They're usually measured in the megatons, not the kilotons. So many people think they're still kiloton nuclear weapons. They're in the megatons, many times larger. I think it's 10 or even 100 times larger than the bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima. So nuclear weapons are very real. There's some people that think they're not real. They're very real. They've been tested and used time and again over the years, especially in recent years, modern times. Though they happen underground and in hidden, lesser known areas throughout the world. So keep on preparing for this total war phase of World War III. I always recommend, though I am not a financial advisor, and it is your own personal decision if you do so, though, to buy gold, silver, land, ammunition, storable foods, and freeze dried foods. Really stocking up on some of those things at least. Not the easiest thing to buy land or gold these days, especially as the economy is totally collapsing and going into hyperinflation. The dollar is back, the US dollar is backed by nothing. People say it's the military. The military can't even operate really without the dollar for very long at all. Um, Continuity of government stuff is really a lot of it, besides small disaster scenarios like a hurricane or a bunch of tornadoes. Besides those things, continuity of government is a joke. It's really stupid that they even think like if the whole power grid goes down, that they could get things running again with the government. It'll go into anarchy in the first week that it happens, and it'll take an estimate of years to even restore or build a new power grid. So chaos, a lot more chaos is going to happen before there is order. Through chaos eventually comes order. There will be a new society eventually. It's not the end of everything, it is the end of the world as we know it now, not the end of everything. It is the end of this global society now, not the end of everything. And there's no prophetic nonsense that is said in the Judeo Christian Bible that is going to happen in a way that's so said in there, in, say, Revelation, the book of Revelation, for example. A lot of that is added in hundreds of years later. It's nonsense. Even the concept of hell wasn't even invented until the 1600s. So there was that, and even the letter J, um, which Jesus, as so many know him as, that letter didn't come around until the 1600s as well. His name is Yeshua, and his life was very different than what was said in that book. It's a whole nother story. But that's the short of it when it comes to that. Keep on preparing and survive through all what is coming. It is going to be a very difficult time. Make sure you're in the right place at the right time and not too far from family, preferably. If you have a large family that you are close with, it is ideal to be very close to them. Because when the power grid goes down, there's no cell phones calling where you're going to have the ability to just call people. The only way will be with the satellite phone, maybe if the satellites aren't all taken out, or even a ham radio. Though when it comes to the ham radio frequencies, you would have to have a total coordinated, organized plan of when to talk to them over ham radio frequencies. And when it comes to the ham radios, even those might get wiped out in an EMP scenario, nuclear war scenario, because it's an electronic device. And like all others, it may go out too, unless they're all protected in a Faraday cage, a Faraday type way. Uh, there's ways of making Faraday cages. It's great. That's a great thing to look into how to do. Even a microwave, if you put stuff in a microwave, that's a form of Faraday cage that I highly recommend. Definitely don't turn it on. It's got to be like unplugged if you're going to put anything in a microwave. There's ways to make a Faraday container. If you go to Home Depot and get certain supplies together, you could make a Faraday, like a container, garbage can type thing, and store things within that. Though a lot of electronics are going to be borderline pretty much useless when an EMP effect happens, when everything is so affected by EMPs. That's definitely a matter of time now. The nuclear weapons is still a bit of a maybe, though I expect total EMP, especially cyber attacks, to happen very soon, where a lot of things are not going to work electronically and on the when it comes to digitally. Here is the price of gold now. It has finally gone up beyond $5,000 per ounce once again. It's $5,042 an ounce. And we have the price of silver still somewhat low, though it is going up slowly, $77 an ounce. Very expensive gold. It's, it's way past time for most people to buy gold. Great store value, especially if you have a lot in savings or somewhere, certain things that you could convert to gold. That is a great thing to do, like pulling out all cryptocurrencies and converting it to gold or silver. Both would be best. Um, though, once again, I am not a financial advisor. That is your own decision. Keep on preparing for this imminent total war phase of World War III. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be back as soon as later on tonight or tomorrow, definitely Monday, with further news and updates on all that is going on. Thanks for watching. Love, light, and blessings to you all on this Lupercalia. Enjoy this holiday season of Lupercalia and Valentine's Day, as so many call it. Love, light, and blessings to you all. Keep on preparing for this total World War III phase we are now going into.